Hi, my name is Sarah Stark, and I am thrilled to be playing the role of Nina in our production of The Seagull. I am also a member of the repertory company for Pigeon Creek and the chair of PR and marketing. So today I'm going to share with you a bit about my process of getting into Nina and kind of what I do for all of my roles. So first of all, I had some really special history when it came to this production and this role in particular. I got a wonderful opportunity at one point in my career, about 6 years ago, to study with the Moscow Art Theater. Professors came over and did a summer intensive in Cambridge. So it was an incredible experience. Basically, we took the Seagull and we did a devised version of it. So we condensed it to a select number of scenes, and then as students, we all formulated these etudes, kind of these exercises and studies and characters which created transitions and little artistic informed bits and pieces about the characters that were not written by Chekhov in the script. So it was an amazing experience. I learned a tremendous amount, and because of that, this play and this role has always been very, very close to my heart, and I was just over the moon excited when I found out that I'd have the opportunity with Pigeon Creek to play Nina. So now I'm going to talk to you kind of about my process and how I've gone through it with Nina. So number one, my first step with every single character I play across the board is that I need to fall in love with the character. This was really easy with Nina. I already felt that going in off the bat. Some characters, not so easy. I remember the most recent one I struggled with was the role of Phoebe in As You Like It. I just didn't think she was very likable, and then in that case I have to find something in them that challenges an area of growth within myself and then come to learn through that character and their journey. But like I said, Nina was definitely a piece of cake. So falling in love kind of serves three purposes for me. First of all, it helps me to really engage with the character and their world, their story, their reality, right? Secondly, I'm very curious when I'm in love with a character. I can't stop thinking about them. And next, it helps me stay dedicated throughout the entire process, all of the work, the line memorization. It's kind of that passion that fuels you through that process. So step two for me is creative daydreaming. And this is a really fun part. Often I begin this part before I have any access to the script or text. And essentially, I find those little spots in my day when I don't have anything necessarily I have to pay attention to, and I just daydream. A lot of times I rely on the physical senses to do this, taste, touch, sight, sound. Sound in particular is a really big one. I like to create a Spotify playlist for all of my characters, to start to collect these songs that help me create the atmosphere of their world, their life, their struggle, right? In particular with Nina, there was this one moment I remember early in the process. I was on a train in Chicago. I was actually on several trains throughout the course of the day. And so I'm listening to this song. It's a Muse song, Starlight, I believe it's called. And it has this series of images and lyrics that really stood out as similar to Nina's situation for me. For example, they repeat our hopes and expectations. Throughout the course of the play, we see that Nina is so tied to this desire and longing for fame. And she puts so much of her energy into that pursuit. And it's all just this dream, this hope, this desire that fuels her and motivates her actions throughout the course of the play. Also, black. The color black is repeated a lot in that song. So black holes and revelations is the actual lyric. But A black image brought up a lot of different images for me, and highly emotionally charged ones too, which is really helpful. For example, when I think of black, I think of Masha always wearing black. I think of the black of the dead eye of the seagull that Constantine shoots. I think of the black of the coffin of her child that she loses and most likely had to bury on her own. There's so many different black images in her world to me that helps bring those to life and connect me to her emotional journey. So after that, step 3 is getting involved with the text. So the first thing I do is try to establish the given circumstances, which is a process of going through the script. And first of all, I see what are the things that Nina actually says about herself. Secondly, I want to do the next kind of circle of proximity in her life. So Constantine is the other closest character to her. I look at what Constantine says about Nina, and then that outer circle of acquaintances who probably aren't as close to her, but do know her and encounter her in the world of the play. So what does Soren say about her, for example? Next, I want to determine my beats. So with this process, we cut sections into French scenes for the purposes of rehearsing. So I definitely utilized that and then built upon that to create my own beats. Basically, what designates a beat change is when I see a motivation or a tactic shift within what Nina's working toward. So I kind of break that up throughout the play so I can get an idea of her journey and be specific with it, moment by moment, shift by shift. Next, once I have those beats laid out, I can easily see the arc that Nina takes throughout the play. It really helps me get an idea of her beginning and her end and how I can polarize that, because I know she is the character that goes through the largest amount of change within the play, and I want to really help tell that story. So another thing, and I believe this is a Stanislavski technique as well, is magic if. So this is simply asking yourself the question, putting yourself in a situation of Nina's, for example, that you might not naturally have experienced. I've never had a child, for example. So I ask myself, if I did have a child and I was abandoned by my lover, how would I react? How would I feel? And just try to imagine and get inside of that. There's a lot of things with Nina that just make sense. For example, wanting to be an actress. I get that. I live that. So I can just simply find a substitution to anchor myself into to experience that. And finally, relationships. What are her relationships with each of the characters she comes in contact with the play? And even the absent ones. For example, her father, who's spoken a lot about, but we don't actually ever see him. Clearly, he influences her. This was interesting, I found, with Trigorin in particular. At first, I went into it thinking that Nina just was in awe of him, and so much of her interactions were based on that. But then I realized there's part of her that's actually deliberately manipulative toward him, and started layering in that part of it as well. So figuring out those nuances in relationships. Finally, the lines, just getting the memorization solid, because once you have that taken care of, then you're really free to play and be present in the moment. And I put a lot of time and effort into working on my lines outside of rehearsal on a regular basis, because repetition is your best friend for memory, so that when I come into rehearsals and end goal performances, I can really be free and present. So that's just a brief glimpse into my work on character. Thank you so much. I hope you come and join us for the Seagull at the Dog Story Theater in conjunction with the Lake Effect Fringe Festival.